2011, President Woodrow Wilson called a national holiday. He called it Armistice Day. It was a celebration of the end of World War I, and also in remembrance and celebration of our veterans who served our country. Fast forward a few years, and now we call this Veterans Day. And it's a day where our nation stops to celebrate the men and women who served our country to defend its freedoms and our values. Grassland Elementary is proud to be a part of that rich heritage tradition as we stop to serve, to honor the men and women who served in our armed services. We especially want to recognize the people of our own community, which we have many here in presence today, one of which we'll be addressing us momentarily. He's addressed our school before and has had many students, his own children and students at our school, and we're proud to have him with us. Mr. Michael Fletcher. Many of you know him as Fletcher. Give him a big round of applause. Mr. Fletcher has served our community as a decorated U.S. Army veteran. He has served us as a sheriff's deputy, as an EMT paramedic, and he is now serving our community, our schools, as the Director of Safety and Security for Williams County Schools. I want to personally thank you for your service, Mr. Fletcher. Before we hear from Mr. Fletcher, the Frank Legere ROTC is here to present the colors and to lead us in the national anthem. Please join me in standing for the presentation of the colors.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Hill, for welcoming everyone and for your kind words this morning. Today we gather to honor our nation's brave veterans, men and women who have served our country in moments of turmoil and in moments of peace. Alongside these heroes, we also honor the current members of our military who sacrifice every day so that we might enjoy all that it means to be an American. We're going to sing a song called A Time to Remember. And that song makes me think of all the people that are serving now in places in our community, in our country, and truly around the world. And it makes me want to say thank you. Thank you for the sacrifices their families make. Thank you for the sacrifices we make, they make for us. A time to remember. appreciate my co-director, Ms. Pam Brainy, helping me out this morning, and our assistant director is Ms. Danae Williams. And we just enjoy this group so very much. We have one more song to sing for you. Hopefully it will be one that you recognize, along with a new tune. We call it a mashup, or a partner song, like the first one was. This is Your Grand Old Flag, and I love that Grand Old Flag. as Mr. Hill said earlier, our guest speaker this morning really needs no introduction in our community. He is a father to a former Grassland student who's now in 8th grade, Audie, at Grassland Middle School, and a current 4th grade student, Luke Fletcher, here at Grassland Elementary. And we're just so delighted to have Mr. Fletcher come and speak to us again this year because he is truly a hometown hero. I don't know if you all realize this. Last year he was awarded, he was nominated by the Franklin Fire Department for quite an honor. He was named the hometown hero and given a trophy by none other than Darrell Waldrop himself. So our hometown hero, Mr. Mike Fletcher, is going to come and speak to us today. And I know he'll have many thoughts on this day when we celebrate our veterans.
Good morning. How's everybody? Good. So y'all know this is Veterans Day, right? Yes. It's not about me, it's about all the veterans. Do I have any veterans in the audience? If I do, please just stand up. Stand up. Thank you so much for the service. So I got to tell you a quick funny story, because this is what the only thing that would happen to me. So we get here to school this morning. I bring Luke to school this morning, and Luke is wearing a really cool shirt. You know what's on the front of his shirt? Canadian flag. Now, I don't have any problems with Canada at all, and I even served with some Canadian soldiers and so forth. But you know, Veterans Day. He turned his shirt inside out for me. That's love. That's love. So let's talk a little bit about Veterans Day, get an understanding of why we're here, and then kids, I'm going to try to give you some advice, and I hope you'll listen to me today. So, 100 years, right? Because in 1918, on November 11th, the armistice was signed to end World War I. Now here's what you got to know, in World War I, that was the war to end all wars. We're going to fight that war, we won that war, there weren't going to be any more wars. That would be nice, but that's really not how it worked out, is it? But President Woodrow Wilson, in 1919 signed a law that said that November 11th was Armistice Day, and that we would celebrate that day. And we did that consistently until about 1954, when President Eisenhower, because some citizens around the country said we should celebrate a lot of other things too on this day, we changed it from Armistice Day to Veterans Day. And we celebrate all veterans past and present. And we're still celebrating today. So that means this is the 100th anniversary, correct? If you don't believe me, it's on a big sign right there. So that's how we got to Veterans Day. We've been doing it on 100 years, and we celebrate our past and present veterans. There's a lot of veterans right now serving all around this world to keep us safe and to keep us free. And we should acknowledge that every single day. We should thank them when we see them. We should be grateful for their service, and I hope you'll do that when you see veterans in the community. Take a minute to give thanks. So I was kind of thinking about, and I said this last year, if you heard me last year, you might remember it. I get an opportunity to speak to a lot of different groups and about a lot of different subjects and topics and so forth. And the only thing that I get nervous about speaking about is veterans. I get nervous speaking about it. And here's why, because I'm representing right now all veterans to you guys, right? I take that as a big deal. That's very important to me, and I want to do it right. So I get nervous that I'm going to make a good presentation and that I'm going to honor all those veterans past and present. So I thought, well, how do we get through this? How do I get rid of my nerves? What do I do? And it started making me think about the values that I was taught in the Army. Now, the Navy, the Marine Corps, the Air Force, they all have their values as well, and I'll be honest with you, they match up pretty similar to these, but these are the Army values, and I know them because I was in the Army. And so I thought we'd talk about it today, because you got to think about what it takes to be a service man or woman, to go in, to join up in the military, to leave your home and leave your family, and go wherever in the world that this country needs you to go to provide that service. that takes some values, right? We're going to talk about these for just a few minutes. So I don't know if you can see it, but the first one over there is loyalty. And that might be one of the most important things, being loyal. Now, who are we going to be loyal to? We're going to be loyal to our country and to our fellow soldiers and friends and our family, right? It's also going we have to be loyal to the Constitution. When we take the oath, when we join the military, we take the oath, we swear an oath to the Constitution that we're going to uphold and defend it. So we have to be loyal to that, and that really means being loyal to our country. Being loyal is incredibly, incredibly important. It is the basis for these values. If we take loyalty out of these values, none of the rest will mean as much or have the same effect. The next one's duty. Really important as well. It means do your job, right? It means do your job. When you're there to do it and to do it well and to perform whatever the military assigned me to do, I knew I had to do it to the best of my ability. Even when nobody was looking, I couldn't cut corners or do it halfway. I had to do exactly what they needed, and I had to do it to the best of my ability every time. Your duty is to do your homework, right? And to do it to the best of your ability every time. It's really important. What about respect? It's really, really important. And that means respect for everything. For your family and your friends. In the military, it's for my unit, for my country, for other servicemen and women from other countries. Like I said, I had the opportunity to serve with those. I had to show them respect as well. Showing people respect is really, really important, and it says a lot about who you are as a person, as an individual. Being able to respect others and the differences that they may have is really, really important. It's definitely one of the Army values. Respect was talked about all the time, but here's the thing. Respect, it's a two-way street. So if you don't show respect to others, I wouldn't expect to see people respecting you in return. Selfless service. That's a lot of words there. What do you think it means? Selfless service. Selfless service means doing something where there's not necessarily a return for you, right? So, if you bake a cake, at the end of it, you can eat that cake, right? And it's good. Who likes chocolate cake? My favorites, right? Chocolate cake. So you bake that cake, you're done with it, you've now got this delicious cake. Let me tell you what selfless service is. You're going to bake that cake, and then you're going to give it to somebody. You're going to find somebody, and you're going to give them that cake that you made, and guess what? You're not going to get to take a bite of it. You can't have any of that cake. You're going to give it to somebody because you love them, or you appreciate them, or you're thankful for them, or you want to celebrate them. Which means you bake that cake, you put all the work into it. You've got flour all over the kitchen and chocolate everywhere, and you're not going to get to eat any of it, but you're going to give it away because you care about that person. That's selfless service. That means doing something because it's the right thing to do, and that you're willing to do that service for others. And I will tell you, one of the things that I found in the military to me was that in my unit, all the guys that I served with, we were constantly doing acts of selfless service because we did it for each other. It was incredibly important that we worked hard to protect each other and to keep each other safe, and that meant doing selfless service acts. And it's something that has always meant a lot to me, and I try each and every day to do at least one selfless service act. Just do something for somebody because they deserve it. And I don't want anything for it, and I'm not going to get anything out of it, but I'm just going to be able to show that person that they're important. You should try that too. Give it a try. Honor. We got to have honor, right? We have to. We have to have honor. We have to show that honor. We have to be honorable. Let me talk about how important honor really is in these values. The highest award that you can get in the United States military is the Medal of what?
Honor.
It's the Medal of Honor. It's the single most important word that we use on the medal to award to somebody who is absolutely committed the highest level of bravery and heroism. That honor is very important. And here's the thing, that there's really no one that controls honor other than you for yourself. How you live your life, how you conduct yourself, how you speak to people, treat people. Honor is all in your hands. You have the power to give people that honor, to show honor. Very, very important. I want to jump to integrity because I'm going to go back to honor a couple of times. But integrity, what does that mean? That's a strange word. What does it mean? Perfect. Perfect. I did not pay you anything for that, right? Okay, let's just make that clear. Integrity, it means to do the right thing no matter what, even if nobody is looking. Incredibly important to have high integrity, to be somebody that can be depended on, that doesn't have to be looked after or followed. When I ask my boys, I say, hey, will you empty the dishwasher? I have to go back and look, right? So we're still working on the integrity part of things, right? It's important. Integrity is vitally important to good Army values, to being a good person, to be able to be dependent on it. I can't put it to you in a way to say that, you know, when I was serving in the military and my fellow soldiers, we would be doing training and things like that, we depended on them. So, you may or may not know this, so I was in the 82nd Airborne and I was a paratrooper, which means I jumped out of airplanes for a living. Pretty serious thing, right? You don't want to jump out of an airplane if you're not paying attention to what's going on, right? You've got to pay attention. And so a lot of it depended on each other. We had to rely on each other to make sure that we were safe. And that when we jumped out of these airplanes, that we were going to hit the ground safely, we could do our job. It's very important. So a lot of times, you know, we had to depend on each other. And guys would pack each other's parachutes. It means put them in the bag, we put them on our backs, and then we go jump out of them. See, integrity is important because they would be packing those chutes and no one was there around them. Nobody was over watching them. They were packing those chutes right there. They could do it the right way or they could do it the wrong way. And they did it right. And let me tell you why. Because they knew that if they didn't do it right, that it could cost somebody their lives. And as we put those parachutes on our shoulders, we never asked any questions. We put them on and we went and jumped with them because we knew our fellow soldiers had integrity. We knew they had integrity and that they were going to do it right even if nobody was looking. And that's really important. And I really believe you can't have honor if you don't have great integrity. And honor, like I said, one of the more important pieces to this puzzle. Personal courage. What does that mean? It means be brave, right? Be brave. Don't have fear. That's hard to do sometimes, isn't it? It's hard to do sometimes. To be brave. It's a challenge. It's not something that I think that each and every one of us has when we're born. I believe we learn it and we practice it and we get better at it. See, I have a really bad fear of heights. I really do. If I stood on top of this gym right now, I would absolutely tremble. You say, well, how'd you jump out of airplanes? You can close your eyes, folks. There's a secret. There's a trick. It's not that hard, okay? You just have to be able to do some things and close your eyes. But I really wanted to do that, and so I challenged myself, and I conquered my fear, and I had that personal courage to be able to do what I was scared of, to be able to battle that fear of heights. I had to do that. Just like when you got to go outside to walk the dog, but it's dark outside and it's scary, it takes personal courage to be able to go, right? There's lots of things in your life that you're going to have some fear about. That's completely normal and completely understandable. And what I'd say to you is, find that personal courage deep down inside of you and give it a try. Give it a try. Because there's no way that my fellow soldiers and I in the military could do the jobs that we were required to do and not have great personal courage. And it was something that I was able to witness on a regular basis. And of all the things that I think I value the most of my military experience is constantly and consistently being able to witness people show extraordinary personal courage. Very much so. Also, what I think ties back into honor is having that individual courage, the courage to do what's right. It's not all about doing something that makes you brave. How about this? How about having the courage to tell the truth even though you know you're going to get in trouble? But you know that telling the truth is what is really important. So you summon that courage and you tell that truth. And that, my friends, goes directly into that honor piece of it. So just remember this, words are incredibly powerful. They have meaning that has great influence on our lives. And these values here, this is something that is very important to me, something that I learned and I try to incorporate into my daily lives. But here's what I'll tell you, that each and every veteran that you come in contact with and that you meet, if you take them and you get to know them, I will bet you that you see these values come out in how they conduct themselves in their lives. That they'll have loyalty and duty and respect, selfless service, honor, integrity, and personal courage. Because these aren't just for the Army. I think it goes completely across all the branches of service. And I think when you see veterans, these things come shining through each and every time. So I hope you'll take some of these values yourself. I hope you'll try them and use them and put them into your life. And above all, I hope that you'll take the time to thank a veteran when you get the opportunity to tell them you appreciate them and that you're grateful for them. They will definitely appreciate you doing that. I hope you guys have a great rest of the day here at Grassland. And I hope, most of all, that you have a great rest of belated Veterans Day. Thank you for having me.
One final poem to conclude this morning, but I have to say, such sweet words of encouragement that we will surely take to heart, and good reminders of really what is true about veterans and should be true about each and every one of us. And thank you again, the veterans that are here this morning. We do honor you, and we thank you. This day is very special to me. My grandfather, now in heaven, but he was a World War II veteran. And World War II veterans we don't have many more around with us. And I'm thankful, many years ago, my grandparents were recorded telling about their lives, and he shared a lot of what he was able to, his experience as a World War II veteran, and it's very, very precious to me. And so I encourage you, boys and girls, to ask questions of your family members, aunts, uncles, grandparents, if they're serving, have served, or are serving now. So you know the family history, because it is a precious one that we do not want to forget. I'm going to have the help of the chorus, so if you'll give me just a moment, I'll ask them to stand, and we'll conclude with this poem, and that will finish out our day. Thank you again, Mr. Fletcher, for your words this morning. Thank you for your service to honor our red, white, and blue. Thank you for your bravery, for protecting me and you.
Thank you to your families.
For having to say goodbye, for spending each day not knowing if you would live or die.
Thank you for each day.
That we live in a country that's free. Without your selfless fight, I'm not sure where we'd be. So I thank you, veteran. Hold your head up high. You should stand up tall and always know that with each day that passes by,
I thank you for your service.
and I know that this is true, no matter what your age, I'm free because of you. Thank you very much. Y'all have a great rest of your week.